This feels weird. I'm not expecting any of you to be here yet. Going a little early today just because I always overestimate how long it takes to set this up and get it all hooked up with Patreon. Hi guys, there's 3 of you. Holy crap. I set this to unlisted, right? Did you guys find this through Patreon? Please say yes. Please tell me you guys found this through Patreon and not the channel, because that'll be a problem. Please tell me how you found this. Can you hear me? That probably is a good place to start. You can hear me. Great. You found it through Patreon? Perfect. Lovely. We love to hear it. Hi, guys. I'm a bit early today. Just wanted to, again, I always underestimate how long it takes me to set this up. So, hi, welcome. We got a couple of things to talk about today. One of them, I was like, wait, what? Also, I have a sandwich. I went to Piadina. They cut it weird, but I'm going to eat it. Sorry. How's everyone doing today? Sorry, I'm a heathen. Just going to give it a little bit. I know I'm a bit early. Anyone want to chat about anything? What's new for me is that I have either a pimple or a bug bite right here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's swollen, so that's fun. But luckily, I have all of this week's videos already done and recorded. I'm waiting for a sponsor approval for Friday's video. And also, my lips are peeling, which is exciting. Accutane, gotta love it when that happens. So luckily, I don't have to go on camera till at least maybe Friday, ideally. Friday's video, next week's video for September, first September video is either going to be about the show Van Helsing. I believe it's a sci-fi show, but Netflix was peddling it to me constantly, probably because they know that I am a woman who loves women, because I watched Winona Earp on Netflix, and they just kept showing me like, oh, look, there are women who kick ass. Vampires. Do you want to watch this show? And they just showed it to me constantly. So I finally watched the first season for a video. So that'll be coming out probably next week. And then also I really want like just a punch of like serotonin, dopamine, anything of the happy drugs. I just want that. So I bought a bunch of stuff to make basically Halloween costumes to have Halloween in September. And that's another way for me to advertise Swalloween. So I'm excited. Today's video is up if you guys haven't seen that yet. Sorry, for those of you that are just getting on, I'm just trying to like keep the conversation going for a little bit because I know I'm doing this a bit early and I don't want to jump right into the topics yet. But yeah, video is doing well. It's being much better perceived than I was expecting. I was expecting a lot of people to be angry that I so much as defended the movie at all. Because again, people don't do research or anything. So I'm glad that the last video, today's video, is doing as well as it has, and everyone seems to be very receptive to what I'm talking about. So that's good because, you know, no one's really seen the movie yet, and the movie still not going to be out on Netflix till September 9th. So I hope my Muna is okay. I hope she's safe because I don't trust the internet. But yeah, that's that. Does anyone have any movie theaters open near them? Hi, welcome on, guys. We're just chatting for a bit, letting other people get on. If anyone has any movie theaters open near them, because all the movie theaters, especially my local AMC, I know I talk crap on AMC all the time, but I do very much like their AMC A-list program. It's just worth the cost for 3 free movies a week. But they were supposed to open all my local theaters, like starting the 20th of this month. None of them opened. Again, local regulation is going to tell them not to. But they're also all still saying, oh yeah, tickets are going to be available for New Mutants and Tenet this weekend. Nothing is letting me get tickets. I already committed. I'm not making a New Mutants video. Most likely I'm not, unless there's like a specific element of it that I want to talk about. Then I'll probably make a New Mutants video because I already committed to doing a podcast talking about the movie. So I'm going to be doing the Mike, and Oscar podcast again to talk about it. That's the one that I just did. If you guys follow me on Twitter or anything. But because we can talk about New Mutants coming to theaters. We can talk about that. But I just did the Mike and Oscar podcast, and that one we went on and we talked about Nightmare Productions or Productions from Hell for movie productions, and we did that to kind of promote the New Mutants episode that's going to be coming out, because I talked about how excited I was for what a train wreck New Mutants might be. So I feel like quite a few are still open in my city. I even received some emails from Cinemark and Cineplex asking what my interest level is going to a theater in the near future. See, that's what all the theaters in my area are asking me as well. But the thing is like, okay, so between you guys and me, because I'm not supposed to talk about this, a couple weeks ago, when all the bans in California first started getting lifted and movie theaters were first allowed open, a couple of movie theaters were open. As you guys know, I use 1 Iota to go to some events here and there, and obviously nothing's been going on, but I saw one on there for a movie screening, an advanced screening for a test screening. And I was like, holy shit, Dad, what if this is like Tenet? This was like early on when everything started getting like pushed back and nothing was picture locked yet. So we were like, what are they doing like final screenings? And there was no information. It was just like, what's an R-rated movie that are coming out? So we just kind of went and we got in, and it was the first and only theater showing that they did for 1 Iota. Because then the following day, because cases were so bad again, they shut everything down. So I was like, Dad, if it was like a day later, they would have shut it down. They would have canceled the screening. But we went and saw, I obviously can't tell you the movie. I signed a bunch of NDAs. But went and saw a early screening in another city for a movie that is not one of the movies coming out. It was something that I guarantee none of you have heard of it yet. It's that early on in production. This was the very first test screening for this film. But we all had to keep our masks on. We weren't even allowed to buy any concessions at the concession stand, because they were like, if you buy concessions, you won't be able to take your mask. You'll have to take your mask off. We don't want that. So you can only get a drink if you use a straw, and you keep your mask on while you have that. And then also they did, no, unless you were sitting with a person. So like me and my dad were allowed to sit together, but then there were 3 seats empty between us and the next group of people. And then everything was covered in plastic and blocked off. So not only were all of the employees and people working the screening completely covered up, but they basically made it as sterile as possible for us to go to the movie theater. So my dad and I felt safe in that showing, but we know that AMC is not going to fucking do that for a movie, because that's it. For one test screening, they were only able to fit maybe not even 30 of us in one theater because of how they had everything spread out. And we got to see that for free because it's a test screening. The production is paying for that test screening to happen, And so, yeah, I see most places aren't going to go that far. So I'm fine with sticking with my drive-ins. But the thing is, sorry if this is wobbling so much. I have like a tabletop thingy right here. But the drive-ins in my area, and especially with Tenet, I don't know about New Mutants. I emailed them my local movie theater, drive-in today, to be like, hey, are you guys going to show New Mutants? Because Tenet has a deal, or the production company has a deal. They will not release the film to be played to drive-ins unless the theaters in the area are also open to show the movie. Like you can't have there's certain deals in place. What does that sound? There are certain deals in place where they drive-in theaters they're not allowed to show the movie unless theaters in the area are also open to show the movie, because they're trying to get the biggest opening weekend numbers they can, because now Tenet has this belief in its brain of the sentient movie beast that it will be the thing that saves movie theaters in the midst of a pandemic. So yes. Pat McBagel, let's go back to your point. Honestly, I don't know why New Mutants is coming to theaters. So New Mutants is, to my knowledge, the final movie made under Fox before the Disney-Fox merger. So in that merger, they had deals that, okay, here's all this, we have control over everything. So Disney doesn't have control over a lot of it. That's why it's not coming to Disney Plus. They have to have a theatrical run for that movie, I believe. They have to, under the deal. So it's not even like, oh, we're not going to they know they're not going to make their money back at this point. But also none of the reshoots that they planned for the movie happened which I also think is a bad thing, because I personally think that that means that the directors and the director and the production are already putting out a movie that they're not happy with, because they had so many reshoots planned, including one where they were going to add a whole new character. So yeah, they are, but they have no choice but to have a theatrical run for that movie. It's in the contract. So I don't know. I think Disney has to pay up, actually. They just dump it on Disney Plus, which again, the movie is not worth possibly what I think Disney would have to pay for the violation. But it's also the last, again, the last property from Fox. So I think Disney is like, fuck it. Okay, whatever you want. Just get it out of here. We don't want to deal with it. It's not our problem. The end. Okay. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Someone asked, Celeste Maria, you asked what's One Iota. So One Iota is actually a fan ticket experience thing. That's how, so you make a free account. It should be totally free. There are certain things where you can pay, but I've never gone to any of the paid events, nor do I plan to. I mean, the ones where you have to pay to be a part of the event. But you basically sign up, fill out in your information, put in a photo of yourself, because it's on camera, audience members most of the time. And but I haven't seen it really be an issue for people that I've seen anyway. They typically use it mainly for so that when you go and you like clock in or sign in, they know that it's you, and it's not like it's an identity thing more than anything. But that's how I went and saw. That's how I was able to go to the Irishman premiere. That's how I went to the Lily Singh show. A Little Late with Lily Singh all the time. Jimmy Kimmel, James Corden, America's Got Talent, all of that. And then now this movie screening, they have a lot of free screenings on there as well. So yes, it is mostly by city. So if you're not near a major city, so it's typically New York and LA. I've seen a couple for Georgia, but it's typically New York and LA. So yeah, if you're not in those vicinities, I probably wouldn't bother. If you're visiting those areas though, absolutely do it. I think it's fun, especially if you just want to see the experience of being an on-camera audience. However, I doubt there's going to be on-camera audience experiences for the foreseeable future. Because pandemic. Any other questions that I skipped? Yeah, One Iota mainly exists for the entertainment industry. So if you're in areas with an entertainment industry, so I would look around for things in like Austin, Texas, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. If you're in Canada, I don't know if I have anyone in Canada on here, near Toronto. Check that out. Probably not through One Iota, but it would be through something else. But anything where they do background casting or any shows are filmed there, take a look around there. Sorry. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to go to the posts so I can pull up the dashboard so I can look at, oh, goodness, that's not what I wanted. Live stream, poll, yay. Thank you guys so much for voting. Usually I get like 50 people voting, but I got 99 of you voting, guys. That's great. That's what we want. That's like a good vote, because then I know like a lot of people are going to talk about things. The only good thing about 2020 for me was going to 3 of Dave Chappelle's comedy shows in a field in his hometown of Yellow Springs, Ohio. 50 pairs of fans, socially distanced with custom. Cool. Awesome. I mean, I've seen what I believe the UK is doing socially distanced concerts now. And some of them have risers, some of them don't. I don't think the risers are needed, but like they're like basically you pay for like a block and it's blocked off and you have to stay inside your square. And there's 6 feet of distance between the squares. Kind of down for it. Because I'm fine with distance. I mean, I'm sure we'd see the number of people going to concerts drop significantly because they'd probably, again, less people are available. And then I'm sure there's some pieces of shit that have, like certain venues are going to upcharge, like, oh, if you want one near the front, that's going to be $3,000 and something fucking absurd. So yeah. My sister was in a socially distanced theater performance. Pat McBagel, I have so many questions. So many questions. My friend was able to go back to school. She did go back. My friend's not from Texas. She went to school in Texas and she graduated from college and is now trying to find a job after a pandemic. Most of my friends just graduated college. Some of my friends are like, I'm going to grad school. I hate this, but I'm going. And some of my friends are taking gap years, which I don't blame them at all. I've been on a never-ending gap year. I was already on a gap year for this year. I haven't done school this year. I probably won't next year at this point either, depending on what happens. How's that? Sorry, I'm like I just realized there was like a huge chunk of space above my head. So yeah, but my friend went back to Texas and they were able to do a socially distanced graduation ceremony, which is cool. So there was like minimum 6 feet between all the chairs, and they did in person, but like you couldn't shake hands. It was just like, okay, and go through. Festivals in the UK charge for ticket. For a ticket, you stand where you can. Don't think there'll be a price rise based on how close you are. Think they'll just sell less tickets. Yeah. So for the UK, yes, but you need to understand here in the US, we're assholes. And capitalism and the music industry are two beasts that are very intertwined. And like, luckily, hopefully we'll have a couple of guerrilla performances, but I mean, those aren't going to be properly regulated at all. Sorry, I just realized there's a huge bruise on my leg from when I ate shit yesterday. That's lovely. Should we just start talking about stuff? Wow, you can really see it now. That's fun. Not touching it. Anyway, you guys cool if we start talking about things? I think there's 15 of you. I'm assuming that's as many as we're going to get on the live stream. If more people come on, but we're going to start talking about stuff. Okay, so for the poll, the options were apparently Marty Jannetty admitted to being a serial killer, streaming service Armageddon, Mulan on Disney Plus for $30, lasting effects of COVID-19 on the film industry, drive-ins making a comeback in a post-COVID world. You guys all voted for the number one option of apparently Marty Jannetty admitted to being a serial killer, and that was the number one thing that you guys voted for the most. That's what got the most votes. So we're going to talk about that first, but we're probably going to talk about everything else afterwards. So Marty Jannetty, am I saying it wrong? There's a very real chance I'm saying it wrong. I've never heard of this man before in my life. But here, this is an article from People. Former WWE wrestler Marty Jannetty appears to claim he killed a man who attacked him when he was 13. We were very shocked at the post, and we were very shocked at the post, and we are taking it very seriously, and we are looking into it. Columbus Police Department Captain Joyce Dent Fitzpatrick tells People. So here's the post. Apparently, I never told no one this, even my brother Gino, because Gino would have killed him, and I didn't want my brother gone. Hell, he'd only recently come home from Vietnam. I was 13, working at Victory Lane's bowling alley, buying weed from an blank that worked there, and he put his hands on me. He dragged me around the back of the building. You already know what he was going to do. That was the very first time I made a man disappear. The post continues. They never found him. They should have looked in the Catatuchi River. Columbus Police Department Captain Joyce Dent Fitzpatrick says they were looking into the post. It's a serious allegation. It's a serious post. So let's talk about this. He is a former WWE wrestler. Okay, I'm saying it right. Great, GT. Thank you. So the post, is my window open? It shouldn't be. It's closed. My dad and I came home from a walk the other night, and he had cooked earlier, and he had somehow turned the stove on really low and didn't realize the light blew out. So we came home, and it just smelled like a lot like gas. Luckily, we smelt it, but considering we smelt it from downstairs and the kitchen was upstairs, we freaked the fuck out. So we just opened as many windows as we could to air out the house. Everything's fine. Nothing blew up. We're fine. No lasting damage. We sat outside for a little bit just to make sure. But they could just be loud as shit. All the neighborhood kids are outside. It's Tuesday. I don't know what they're doing. There's online school. Anyway, but the post is saying that when he was 13, he was working in a bowling alley and buying weed, and the person he was buying weed from basically like attacked him and grabbed him and dragged him around. And he said to he did a follow-up interview because people were like, "Hey, what the fuck are you talking about?" And he said that the guy was going to assault him. He was like, "If I hadn't fought for my life, I was gonna be assaulted," and that's what he was planning on doing. I protected myself, is what he's saying. Let me pull up another one from this. But something, I think the concerning nature here isn't just like, hey, I defended myself from someone who attacked me. I was 13. I didn't want because at first when you hear the start of it, it's like, I didn't want to tell my brother because my brother would have killed him. I didn't want him to get locked up. But then he's saying, like, no, I handled it. They never found him. Like, they should have checked the river. Like, it sounds like he's not saying, like, oh, I didn't kill the guy. But then it does sound like he killed the guy. Okay. But then, and also the line, that's the very first time I made a man disappear. Were there more? Were there more times? Did you make other people disappear, Marty? Should I be concerned? Right now, we are looking at it as a missing persons case. We were trying to reach out to people who may have been here during that time frame, or know something about someone missing during that time frame. Then Fitzpatrick says detectives will be focusing on the year 1973, 1974, and 1975. To be clear again, he's now 60. This wrestler is now 60. Okay, so his stuff, so this happened, again, obviously in the 70s. That's why they're investigating those years. So most people in that time that would have been around are probably dead now, or not at a place where they can speak properly on something that happened that long ago. So we'll see. Apparently, the detectives have not reached out to Giannetti himself. They've just been looking into it. The confession has since been deleted, and he has not been reached by people. So I found a different one that he did, a different interview he did, not with people. Where is it? Oh, wait, here it is. Sorry, guys. Giannetti, 60, spoke to the New England Millennium Wrestling Federation on August 5th, hours after a message he posted to Facebook attracted the attention of numerous media outlets and authorities in Columbus, Georgia. During the interview, Giannetti reaffirmed his social media claims, saying he acted in self-defense, repeatedly hitting a man in the head with a brick after the man tried to, I don't know who's comfortable with what, so I'm going to say R-word. Repeatedly tried to R-word him is what I'm going to say. He explained he was working at a Columbus bowling alley at the time and tried to buy marijuana from the man. I got in the guy's car. He gave me the bag of weed, but he reached over and grabbed me down there. I did not expect that because it wasn't the first day I'd met him. I knew him. He jumped out of the car and he came around, grabbed me by my hair. When he grabbed me by my hair, I couldn't get away. So he's saying the guy was bigger than him. If I couldn't have handled myself, that dude would have assaulted me. When asked to clarify the statement, he responded, I probably don't need to say this, but there was a brick lying there. It was the right thing to do in the moment. I didn't know how to handle that. I never tried to be assaulted before. I was scared, I won't lie. In the Facebook post, Giannetti claimed that after bludgeoning him, he made his attacker disappear, saying it was the first time he had ever done such a thing. They never found him. The post said they should have looked in the Chattahoochee River. During his interview with the Money, which can be heard via YouTube, the host tells Giannetti that the man deserved what happened to him. I can't say he deserved to be killed, Giannetti offers. I can't say he deserved to die, but he deserved to get his ass beat. And when I was beating him in the head with the brick, I was only trying to beat his ass. I wasn't trying to kill him. When that shit happened to me, that hurt me, man. I was upset, dragging him to the river and throwing him in and finding out the news the guy is missing. That fucking affected me bad. Bro, it hurt me, and I made up my mind up that day no one would ever hurt me again. He then said, I'm not saying he died. No other kids had to worry about him. Okay, wait, so he died or he didn't? They're just saying that he went missing. He's confirming that he's missing, and he knew that the guy was missing because he heard about it, and he didn't mean to kill him. Sorry if I lost a couple of you. I'm assuming you guys aren't comfortable with this topic, but this is what was voted on. We're going to talk about other stuff, too. So I'm looking to see if he talked about the allegation that there were more people. No, just saying that it's the same thing. Yeah, what do you guys think? Because I think the comment, I think he may have just thrown in, that's the very first time I made someone disappear. Could be anything. I'm not familiar with his work in WWE. I don't know if that's something he's said before. I'm going to make you disappear. I don't know if that's something he said in, to opponents or anything. Does anyone know? Someone suggested that to me. No, nothing. Self-defense is okay. Sounds like he made a dangerous predator disappear. Yeah, I have no problem with self-defense, especially when you're a kid. I am full. Okay, especially if you're also teach your kids this to make people uncomfortable in public when they're being made uncomfortable. 100%. Okay, fuck politeness when you're being made uncomfortable, especially in public. Okay, so I have no problem with him self-defending himself, especially if he was going to be assaulted, especially if he was that young and was alone. No problem with that. But there's the ominous tone of first time I made someone disappear, you know? So yeah, there's that. Also, the Facebook, it just seems like a weird timing. Maybe a therapist told me he needed to tell someone about it or something. I know nothing's mentioned anywhere else. But like the Facebook post just seems like it came out of nowhere. He was like, I've never told anyone this. And it's like, oh, okay. Did you hear something we didn't? Well, what's going on? You know? Sorry, I know I keep looking weirdly at the screen, but I just keep seeing the bump by my eye and it's freaking me out. 100% online with self-defense. The case isn't the problem. What about the others? Yeah, exactly. Like there's an allusion. He alludes to other people, you know? Yeah, like that's the first time I made someone disappear, right? Like I'm not familiar with him in wrestling, you know? Like unless it's a catchphrase he says like, "Oh, I'm going to make you disappear." Like it's like a threat he did. And so it's like, "Oh, let me tell you about the first time." But it's like I think it's real. I think this is true cuz like the 13 thing, that's a very specific age. Talks about the bowling alley. He talks about how other people notice the guy is missing. I don't think he's making this story up. You know? It may be because he's going to pass soon, maybe a pre-deathbed confession. Marty is not in good shape. Google later. He's notorious. Okay. Yeah, it's my understanding with wrestling, like there's a lot of issues with like their healthcare and stuff because technically they're like freelance. So some of them don't even have like legitimate health insurance or anything like that. But yeah, that kind of totally implies there have been subsequent disappearances. If he didn't mean it that way, then it's worded terribly. LOL. Yeah. Okay, so that's all I can find on that because those are the two options that I found to really talk about it. Are you guys cool if we go and move forward? Yeah, everything else is just talking about what he said and claiming self-defense. Are you guys cool with the next topic? Say yes or no. Cool. Okay. Sorry. Streaming service. So the next one with the next highest amount of votes. Streaming service Armageddon and Mulan on Disney Plus for $30. So that's a combination of two different suggestions that I got because I felt they went together. And I feel like I always talk about streaming services and stuff. So I was like, let's just combine the two. So streaming service Armageddon is about the amount of flipping networks that are now offering streaming services and are now doing their own contracts and making their own severe content or original content for their streaming platforms. And how basically if you buy all of them, then you're basically just paying for cable. That's it. Like personally, in my opinion, I like Netflix. I like Hulu. I hardly touch Disney Plus anymore, but I get Disney Plus for free for a year because I'm on Verizon. For now, I'm looking at other options, but I currently have Disney Plus for free. I mean, the only reason I would keep paying for it is if the Disney Plus Marvel shows are like anything insane. That's the only thing I can really think about. As far as I kind of have to have it now that I think about it because like content, you know. The only streaming service I use a ton is DC Universe, but I read tons of DC comics, so it works. See, everyone tells me to check out DC Universe, you know, so I may have to do that soon. Oh, excuse me. Outside of Netflix, yeah. I mean, I like Hulu mainly because I like they have a lot of reality TV on there because that's my guilty pleasure is to just kind of see messy people be messy. That's always fun. All the shows that matter are on HBO Max nowadays, now anyway. I mean, I've never really gotten into HBO content. I'm going to be honest. I just haven't. Still haven't watched Game of Thrones. But with how poorly the last season was received, I don't think I want to. And then now Disney Plus is doing Mulan for $30 rental. And they're probably going to do Black Widow too. Probably for $30 minimum. I don't know how that's going to work out. because I feel like they're gonna see a loss regardless. But I mean, Disney Plus releasing Mulan, at least they get at least probably, let's say, not counting production, not counting whatever, there's probably some type of fee they're gonna have to pay. I know it's their streaming service, so they're keeping a majority of the cost. It's probably gonna be like 90% that they're actually making, the just pure profit that they're making from releasing on Disney Plus. Probably, I don't know if it's gonna be worth it. You know? Sorry, my dad is messaging me. Anything important? I'm just trying to think. I don't know what the hell it is he sent me. Anyway, no, but for Disney Plus with Mulan, I don't know if they're going to see their return, you know? I don't know if they're going to see it, but also there's been a lot of, I don't want to say drama attached to it. There's been some political issues attached to it. I believe the main actress for Mulan, I think she spoke in support of police during the Hong Kong riots. I believe that's what it was. And then she later said, like, I was uneducated on the topic. And it's like, not the time, you know? I am not well-versed on that whole saga of all of that. But I don't know how the movie's going to go over. And then also with the Disney Plus as well, like people are already paying $6.99 a month for Disney Plus, and then now is it a rental or are you buying the movie? You know, like are you getting a digital download with it? Like what are you getting with it for the $30? You know, I'm probably gonna have to do it for a video most likely. Like I may have to go into a road trip this weekend to go see Tenet and what's it called? Depends if I want to see Tenet or not. I'm gonna see Tenet regardless. I don't know if I'm gonna make a video on Tenet. We shall see. But yeah, as far as I don't know how they're gonna see like what type of return they're gonna see because they're gonna be making mostly profit. But Disney's not afraid to charge high prices. No, I don't doubt that they're not afraid to. It's just a matter of if it's going to be profitable for them or if they're going to cut their losses. Because the risk here, again, is they don't see a high return on Mulan. And they do probably what they're thinking about doing with Artemis Fowl, and which is, okay, this property is not worth enough money for us. So we're never going to put money into it again because we messed up so bad. Instead of, hey, we made a bad movie. It was terrible. We messed up. We changed things. It wasn't good. But with Mulan, you have the extenuating possible view of it as it's like, a Chinese actress led film, a Chinese character led film, live action. It's not profitable for us, so we're not going to do it again. You know? So there's that risk. And then also they're potentially going to do the same thing for Black Widow. There's talk of them doing that. You do get to keep Mulan so long as you're a Disney Plus subscriber. See, but then even then, it's still like, that's like, that happened with Kindle when I believe it was the UK shut down their Kindle operations. And so every person who had spent full price for digital copies of books lost it all. And they were like, oh no, you're not buying the books, you're renting them. Okay. So it's still a rental then, even if you're a Disney Plus subscriber, you know? What other films on Disney Plus are the same price as Mulan? Like, is it the only one? Yeah, no, nothing else right now. That there's nothing. You don't have to pay for anything on Disney Plus. You're not paying for anything on Disney Plus Max. You pay the $6.99 and then you have access to everything. Mulan is going to be a buy on demand, basically, for Disney Plus. That's the first one they're doing. And then if that's anywhere near profitable for them, they're going to be doing the same thing for Black Widow. But then if Black Widow, let's say hypothetically, because again, I mean, yeah, I'm going to say different audiences. There's a lot of overlap in the audiences, but they are still different audiences. Okay. I think with Disney and Mulan and Black Widow, that if one does well and the other one doesn't, then the other one's fucked, you know? Like, oh, okay, Mulan did well, but Black Widow didn't perform at the same level of Mulan. So obviously, we shouldn't put any more money into female superhero movies, you know? Does that make sense? I think Black Widow might get a bigger draw than Mulan. I think so as well. I think it's a race against the clock because they're releasing Mulan first now. They're going to try and put off releasing Black Widow, but they may try and do both. So we'll see. All these leasing services are going to do is push people back to piracy after years of Netflix enticing people away from it. Dude, at this point, Robert Pattinson is flipping trying to get people to go to piracy because he told people, he said in an interview, he's like, yeah, if Batman doesn't work out, I'm just going to do porn. And so everyone's like, okay, cool, we're torrenting Batman. I like how everyone's like, you guys, torrenting never went anywhere. You just got to find the right spots. If Disney Plus is trying a new buy-on strategy in addition to the streaming service, do you think Mulan was the best choice? Should it have been Black Widow? So I think Mulan is the better choice. If we're talking, I don't want to say politics-wise, but just for public reception, considering people already consider that this is too late for a Black Widow movie to come out. Like, it's too late. Marvel fucked up. They should have done it years ago when people wanted it, like right after the first Avengers movie. People were begging for the last several years, people have been begging for a Black Widow movie. Now that there's been issues with Scarlett Johansson, and now that they've killed off Natasha, like, who knows what the fuck is going to be the outcome of this movie. This is already like, this is supposed to happen. This movie is now taking place between Civil War and Infinity War, I believe. So it's already like burying everything. So there are already people who are like, it doesn't matter for anything. Like, it doesn't really matter if we don't go see this one. To them, they may see it that way. So I think they have to do a theatrical review because if they dump it on Disney Plus, and people are gonna be like, oh, you dumped a superhero movie, you dumped Black Widow's superhero movie, you dumped it on Disney Plus, really? But I mean, charging for it, they may be able to get away with not having that reaction. But I think people are going to be irritated with them, period, for dropping either on Disney Plus. But I mean, people want to be safe. So now it's like kind of all in circles. I completely forgot Lady and the Tramp got a remake. Yeah, I still haven't seen it. I still don't want to. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. Have you seen the Batman trailer? Yes. I think he looks like Bucky Barnes, and I'm not entirely mad about it. I had to start using a VPN after my ISP called me on the phone and shamed me for having bad taste in pirated TV shows. Nice. I don't know. I don't have a lot of interest in watching these movies on my shitty 13-inch screen. See, I love the movie theater experience. I have no problem paying for the movie theater experience. I just don't want to pay with my lung capacity, you know? I don't want to pay with my life or my family's life, you know? Has there been any Disney live action films that you've enjoyed? Yeah, oh gosh. I want to say yes. I'm trying to think, like, live action remakes that I enjoyed. I saw Aladdin. I didn't like it. I thought it was messy. And then there was also the issue. They got called out early on in production because they were spotted and there was evidence that they were spray painting white background actors brown. That's real. That's a real thing that happened. So half of the crowd scenes, I was like, who is it? Who is it? Trying to figure out if I could find. And they tried to be like, you know how hard it is to find people of color in this area? And I was like, are you fucking idiots? Absolute fucking idiots. Absolute idiots. Idiots. So didn't like Aladdin for a lot of reasons. Also, I thought it was weird that they gave her like a sassy friend. I was like, what was the point of this? Who's just there to be like, yes, hi. He seems nice. Like, it was very weird. Trying to think of what other remakes I've seen. I still never saw Cinderella because I didn't want to. I mean, I liked the Lion King remake, but that was because Beyonce was in it and Donald Glover was in it. and I already liked the original, and it was basically a shot-for-shot remake, you know? Trying to think of what else. What have I seen? See, this is why I'm bad at thinking things like this, because I just blank. Did he earn the title of Daddy from that trailer? No, he did not earn the title. Robert Pattinson did not earn the title of Daddy from that trailer. The perfume he did, the perfume ad he did with, I believe, Camille, not Monroe. What's her name? She's a model. She dated Harry Styles. There's a song on his album about her. But there's a perfume ad that he did with her, and they're like making out in an elevator. He earned the title of Daddy from that one, but not from the Batman trailer. No. Yeah. Beauty and the Beast. I saw Beauty and the Beast. I'm glad they gave them music, because I'm fairly certain that because they're not doing that with Mulan. They got rid of the musical numbers. I don't know. I think Emma Watson needs to try a little harder with her acting. Just a little. Just a little. I'm not going to lie. It was a little painful to watch her in Little Women. A little bit. And not just because her American accent needs a little bit of work. I thought Beauty and the Beast was super bland. I understand. I wanted to like it more than I think I did. Mainly, I like the visual effects more than anything. But, I mean, it's nothing crazy as far as storytelling-wise or anything like that. You know? Lindsay Ellis did a very good video about it. Like, oh, let's give her an invention story arc that goes nowhere. And it's like, this is a time when people were encouraged to read. But let's actively have people mock her for trying to teach a young girl how to read. And it's like, yeah. She is a national treasure. Okay, Kyle. I forgot who made the vid, but someone made a long analysis of the music in Beauty and the Beast and how shit it was, and it was rough. Yeah. I don't know if it was, I don't remember his name. He might have done it. I just know of Lindsay Ellis's video for Beauty and the Beast. Yes, no, I'm not criticizing her, like, activism at all. That's not what I'm criticizing. I'm criticizing her acting, how she acts in her job, which is her main job. No, I have no problem with any of her activism or anything like that. And I also think it's great that she started a whole-on website teaching women how to masturbate. I think that's great. Like, actually, like, hey, let's break this down because girls aren't coming. let's make this work. I think a lot of the remakes have really suffered in the cinematography department. Pretty paint by numbers and visual storytelling. Yeah. Doesn't matter if the woman can't act, she can emote. Can she, though? You know, because I think emote is more than just like move your face. You know? Emote is more than just like, hi, like, what's up? Because if I'm talking like this, but my voice is still sounding very monotone and I'm not moving, that's not the same. That's not good, you know? Like, I think she can cry on cue. Can't she? That's not, you know, it's like that. That's not a requirement for acting. You guys know that, right? Crying on cue is not a requirement. That's just like a skill. It's like, you know, being good at Excel, except in acting. There's literally sticks that they use where they put it under and then you just start crying. That's what a lot of actors do. She seems like she's giving 75% effort. I'm not saying she can't act. I'm saying she's not trying as hard as she could be. That's my point. But also, like, she can cry on cue. That's not a mark of a good actor. I mean, there's different ways to cry on cue. But also, if that's all it takes, then every girl I went to high school with who ever got a speeding ticket is an incredible actress. Because, oh my God. Yeah, loads of A-list actors also will take a moment to listen to something on their iPod to get themselves to the point of tears. Yeah. You know, like, there's various ways to cry on command, you know? Speaking of acting, how does your acting pursuits go? So I am in one class. I had my second class for that one this last week. And then today I paid for my deposit for another class because I'm trying to take two at once. So yeah, I had a production company reach out to me 2 days ago now. And I have a meeting with them tomorrow over video call to talk about future projects they're doing. So we'll see. But we'll see. I'm not looking into it too much. Are you in a workshop or enrolled in a college? So I'm not enrolled in a college. It's a acting class. One is through Michelle Danner, and then the other one is through Marjorie Ballantyne is the one that I'm taking, who I was recommended to by someone that my dad works with who does some acting here and there. So yeah, we're taking it a step at a time. But if anything, I feel like I'm behind on my acting career, and I'm not. Like, it's just a slow process, but also nothing's happening right now because there's a pandemic. So I don't know. I'm just trying to break out of that. But I'm like, the best I can be doing right now is just in classes and working on stuff. But yeah. Okay, let's move forward to another topic. I know we got off topic. Lasting effects from COVID-19 on the film industry. Well, we've already talked about that a little bit. So we can talk about that for getting involved in SAG-AFTRA. So speaking of acting, I am currently non-union. I am a non-union actor. I have not done any union projects. If I do a project, it is non-union because I am not a union actor. The main actor, SAG-AFTRA is the main union for actors, and there are various ways to get involved in the union, to be eligible for the union. Background work is one of the major ways to do it. So if you're a background actor and you get paid a union day wage and you get 3 of the vouchers from doing those different shoots, then congratulations, you are now SAG eligible. You can hobble on down there and pay $3,000 and get inducted into the union. But then now you're a union actor, you're SAG-AFTRA. Great. More people want to talk to you. You can be eligible for more you can be eligible for TV shows, you can be eligible for movies, more feature films. It's like, that's how you become like an actor, basically. You need to kind of be involved in the union. The other way to be involved in the union is booking, if you do commercial work and you book a union commercial, you are automatically now in the union. You only have to do one of those. Congratulations. The other way, I believe, is Taft-Hartley. So that's basically like you, a non-union actor, is the only one who can do this role. Like, hey, we have this union film. No union actors available can fill this role. We need this non-union actor. So they basically write a Taft-Hartley, and that person is now automatically eligible for SAG-AFTRA. I believe there's also a web series, but that's under new media. That's a whole other thing. Yes, it's a lot of money. My dad was listening to a podcast that a comedian was on. He was like, before my first comedy taping, I was going to be making $250 for doing this comedy taping. But because it was a SAG-AFTRA production, they were like, hey, you have to go down to the union and pay your union wage. So he had to pay $3,000 in order to make $250. But that's a one-time fee, and then your yearly rate changes depending on how much you're making to be a part of the union. But also, when you're a part of the union, you have the ability to make more money. And then also your ability to work on better roles and in better shows and films and things like that, and work with better agencies that most of them require you to be in the union. Like, they won't even look at your reel if you're not in the union. That being said, again, like I said, one of the major ways to get union eligible is to do background work. The thing is, though, is because of new COVID safety measures, they're probably not going to be doing a lot of background work. So the chances of more people becoming eligible from doing background work for the union is going to be a lot less, because there's going to be less background work happening because they're trying to keep productions smaller. So that's fun. So yeah, that's that. Also, I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, just like smaller, like more. There's pretty much every casting that I've been doing now for casting things that I've seen. They're doing it through EchoCast, through video chat, or they're doing strictly self-tapes. There's nothing in person that I have seen so far, nor do I think it's going to change anytime soon. Do you get more protection like in other jobs union? Yes, there's a lot more protection with those jobs. I highly recommend Audrey Helps Actors, the podcast. She has a bunch of great stuff on there. But she had this actress come on that she had on like not even a week prior. And she was like, I'm going to go on and I'm actually getting on a plane tomorrow so I can go fly out to do this film that I'm doing, this union film that I'm doing down in Florida. The day before she's supposed to go out there, she gets an email from the director saying, so excited for you to be working on this film. I just realized that you have a boyfriend. I find you very attractive. And I know how these things change. And she just wrote back and said, hi, I'm coming to film a movie. Nothing's changing. Okay, bye. Okay. Told her manager, like, hey, I'm going to do the movie because I've signed the contract, but here's what he sent to me. And if I leave Florida, you know why. This is why. Like, something happened clearly. Like, this is why. So she had a record of everything. Gets there. They're 6 days into filming. And she realized that no one was telling her about the production. She was like, how's production going? She's like, again, a lead of this film now. It's an independent film. She's been told it's SAG. She's a SAG actor. Okay. And so no one's really telling her. And then, but she hears that they're working 12-hour days. And she's like, well, that's going to be really expensive because, like, I'm union. And so was this other actor that's in the film. This is a union project. And they're only supposed to work 8 hours at a time. Okay. And they're only supposed to work 8 hours at a time, or then they start getting overtime. Okay. And that is union regulated. Okay. So she's like, wow, that's going to be really expensive. And then all of the production, like, crew is like, what is she talking about? And one of them said, I thought the director said that it wasn't a union project. And then she heard another crew member say, no, he said that we're telling the actors it's a union project. So she's like, oh shit, okay. Immediately goes to the SAG-AFTRA app, calls the emergency line, and they immediately are like, are you safe? Are you in danger? Do you need help? She's like, no, but I think I'm being lied to. They investigate the production. The guy had never registered it as SAG-AFTRA. It wasn't a legal SAG-AFTRA project. So they did force the paperwork through. But the director had committed already so many violations with that production that the union representatives told this actress, hey, even if it were approved, if this film gets approved for SAG-AFTRA, we have to shut it down because there's so many violations in place. Like, we have no choice but to shut down the production. So instead, it was not approved for SAG-AFTRA. So the production was shut down and she went home. But the point of that story, of her telling that story, was like, if she wasn't SAG and she hadn't done the investigation, done her own investigating and fought for herself, she would have been screwed, because since it wasn't a union project, she was a union actress. Not only would she have possibly she probably would have been fined. She could have lost her union status, but also if she'd gotten hurt, if she'd gotten injured, if they hadn't paid her properly, no one would have been able to do anything for her because it was outside of the union. So it's partially protection, but then also partially making sure you're getting paid the fair wage you're supposed to be paying when you are part of the union. Are there similar union for crew positions? I believe the crew is a part of SAG-AFTRA in a different situation. But again, that's not what I'm looking into, so I'm not well versed in the crew side of everything. Curious if SAG is like equity when you become union, you're not allowed to do non-union. So yes, I believe that is the case. That's what I've been told, is that you're not supposed to do non-union projects, and you can be fined for doing non-union. But then also, you could lose your union status. But also, if someone is if a show is non-union, like let's hypothetically, I'm a union actor and I want to do I'm a union actor and I'm doing a non-union web series, but we're trying to get this to become a union web series so they can go and say, oh, well, we have the SAG actor in there, so we have to make it a union project. And then that's another way to help get that production into a union project. So that's that. However, with that situation for that actor, she actually went and reported the other actor, because the other actor did know it was non-union and refused to tell her, and was also in on the whole, oh, we're just going to tell her that it's union and we're going to hope that everything goes through and hope that everything works out and hope that she plays ball, was the actual term that was said to this actress. So she reported the other actor. She was like, I don't know what happened to him now, but yeah, because he wasn't looking out for her. She had to look out for herself. I live in Atlanta and work in behind the scenes production, building sets, etc. My union, IATSC, has been pretty much shut down since March. No word on when my job will return. Yeah. IATSE is the union for behind the scenes camera work. Okay. Isn't that some sort of fraud or something? Yes, that's why. So she reported the director. So SAG-AFTRA was already aware of the director. Now became aware because she reported everything and was like, "Hi, I'm just trying to make sure." Because what she originally called, she didn't call and say, "Hey, I'm being lied to." She called and said, "I think I'm being lied to. Can you please just research if this production is SAG-AFTRA?" And then they got back to her immediately and said, "Hi, we can find nothing on this film. So it wasn't a registered SAG-AFTRA film. You have to have it be registered in order for it to be eligible." And then they later found out that the director had just started the paperwork to make it a SAG-AFTRA film and never finished it. So they were like, "Okay, we'll force through the paperwork if you just go through it." And then that's how everything devolved. So Actors Access is where she had seen the listing for the casting and where she applied and where she was cast through. So she had copies of everything, luckily. So she reported that listing and that director to Actors Access. And then I believe she reported the other actor as well. Because again, he was aware of everything. And so therefore was now an accomplice to this fraud, essentially. She was, when they were investigating everything, they invoked some part of the union, her union contract for the production that said that she had to get her full rate, like everything she would have been owed for the 3 weeks of shooting they were supposed to do, in her hands at the start, or she wouldn't come back to set. So she got that and then went back to set. So she was going to be paid regardless at that point. And then once everything got shut down, she just took her rate for her flight, her bag, and like the time that she wasn't able to work on other stuff because she was there, and then gave the rest of the money back. Da, 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 da. I've heard a lot of beginning actors holding off on registering in the union so they can land a bunch more non-union jobs to help beef up their resume. Yeah, that's what I'm reading currently, The Actor's Life by Jenna Fisher, and she talks about how when she became SAG eligible, she did it through background work. She was like, I could never get cast in anything commercial. I never understood how to get cast in commercial work. She did it through background acting. And she said, like, take advantage of that time when you're non-union or you're SAG eligible. And she said she made a resume that said she was SAG-AFTRA and the one that said that she was non-union, because both were technically true. And so she did a couple more non-union works. And the moment she booked a SAG-AFTRA job, she went and paid her dues and then went and started doing that. So that way she wasn't fined, but she was still beefing up her resume and making money from the side from those. So yeah, that's that. But the as far as like, so that's one element though of getting into the union that's not going to be an option anymore, I believe, because, you know, obviously there's going to be less background work for at least a little bit. I don't think background work is going away completely, considering there's a lot of different requirements for background work and things like that. But obviously, like, there's not going to be a lot of, they're trying to keep production as small as possible right now. And unless you're getting weekly COVID testing to, you know, possibly be a background work, like everything that I'm applying for now, everything is saying like, hi, either you're quarantining with the cast if you get cast, or you have to prove that you are COVID negative the day you get to set. Like, you have to go on your own time and go get tested. And then the day before, the day of, you have to send us your information the day before. And then you have to walk in and show us your test results. Many times non-union companies pay more, but many will 1099 their employees. Also, companies often pay much more than union scale using union workers that are talented. Yeah. So for the thing that, I mean, as far as like certain jobs and things like that, like what I want to do is film. And so a lot of feature films won't hire non-union actors at this point. A lot of network TV shows won't hire non-union actors. And that's what I want to do. And so that's where, you know, residuals come in and things like that. Like, I won't do any non-union commercials because I've heard a lot of different issues with like after the fact, like later on down the line, people who were considered for union commercials. The most well-known case being the Flo Progressive commercials. Okay. Flo was not their first choice for the progressive commercial campaigns. She was not their first option. They had another woman that they wanted to do for that role. And so, but they looked her up online, and online they found that she had done another commercial when she was non-union for an insurance company from like 5-6 years ago. But with the contract that she signed, it was in perpetuity, I believe. And so she had no control over that commercial. They could not have that commercial taken down. There was nothing because she basically signed off her rights for the amount of time that that commercial could run for. So that woman got passed over for that because she had done a commercial for another, oh my God, union. She had done another union commercial, a non-union commercial that they had no control over. So Flo got the job. So and she's made millions of dollars from that ad campaign, by the way. So that's that. As far as, and then you think about, not Jake from State Farm. What's his name? Who was the guy who did, Can You Hear Me Now? What's his name? And then he worked for, I used to say, Can You Hear Me Now with Verizon? Now with AT&T. Is it that guy? Yeah. The reason he's able to do that is because he was a union actor for Verizon. And then once that contract was done and they couldn't show that commercial anymore, suddenly he was able to go and get a better deal with AT&T. And now he's like making all the money. So again, union commercials. Has the union become more vigilant in protecting its talent from harassment since the Weinstein scandal? I have no idea because I'm not in the union. I have truly no idea. I mean, you would hope so, but I mean, considering that the union protects you with jobs, you know? So with the Weinstein scandal, a lot of it was possible jobs. Like I could maybe get cast in this role. The union doesn't protect you at that point, to my knowledge. So just not something you have control over, or the union has control over, I should say, at that point. As far as like on set and production goes, and I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know how they would be more vigilant with that past, like if things aren't reported, there's not much they can truly do. Does that make sense? Like they're very active, I believe, in making sure that there are chaperones or parents on set for child actors and things like that. But even then, you know, yeah, I don't know what they can truly do for outside of the union, you know? I don't know. The last topic on here is drive-ins making a comeback in a post-COVID world. I mean, I still go to drive-ins. I don't know if it's going to be lasting, maybe, but who knows? Who really knows? The one that I went to see the tax collector at one the other day. Not again, but I went to the same drive-in again. And I was on the one screen that apparently they never cleaned because there was just glass fucking everywhere. My tires are fine, but I was like, So yeah. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Because I am out of topics. Does anyone here live in a non-major city that has a drive-in? No. I drive 40 minutes out of the way to get to a drive-in. It's a bummer living in a pedestrian city. Don't have a car. LMAO. I'm sorry, Taylor. Yeah, I don't recommend getting an Ubers or anything right now, you know? I live in New Jersey, was hyped for the Walmart drive-in program, and of course, none around my area. Yep. Drive-ins are still doing decent in Aus, where cinemas are back open for all states but one. Okay, that's good. There aren't a lot of theaters around here anyway. There is one north of Pittsburgh in a suburb, I think. I think delivery will stay big after a vaccine comes out. Yeah, I think so too. I think it was, I mean, let's face it, delivery food wasn't struggling before this. You know, Postmates is huge. But now that more people are going to be working at home, what do you think about the whole Uber Lyft California thing? I think it was bound to happen at some point. They were doing everything they could to make sure that so Lyft and Uber launched, and you had people who were making a shit ton of money. And then eventually they started doing signing bonuses because they needed more drivers because there was such a demand for it. Shit ton of money. And then they introduce certain programs like, hey, if you have a nicer car, you can charge more, but they also cut charges for other things. So the actual drivers were making far less. So there are some people who are owed thousands of dollars from Lyft and Uber that just weren't paid that because of the new laws. And then, or because of their new regulations. And then there was the issue now where there are people who they're not being offered healthcare. They're not being offered regulated wages. So these people there's no control over how much they make or how much they have to be paid by these companies. So I understand why it can be seen as different ways, but for the most part, it's my understanding that the laws in place are trying to help the actual drivers more than anything and offer them protection. And Uber and Lyft are just pissed off because they actually have to pay people now, because technically they had unlimited employees, and now they have to have limited employees and actually pay them a livable wage. So yes, some people doing Lyft and Uber are going to have to look for other things to do, but it's like more holding the companies accountable, and it is trying to help the employees. There's never going to be a perfect way to do that. But Uber and Lyft have just kind of been doing whatever the fuck they want. The same thing with like bird scooters. Like they just flooded cities with those fucking scooters when the city specifically said, hey, we don't want these here. Stop it. We don't want them here. We don't want you making money off of these locations. We don't want people getting hurt. We don't want that. So yeah. We had Uber and Lyft specifically. Like I know people who have been screwed out of so much money by the companies that they were working for at the time, So I have a picture I took in college of a Lime scooter someone threw in a tree. Nice. There's a couple around me, not like in this area where I am, because it's such private property and it's all owned by a certain company that I can't tell you about because you'll know where I live. But in Santa Ana down that way, and then other areas, there's a lot of them. And you'll see it because I've seen some people like driving them, and then all of a sudden like their time runs out or their card went blank and they just like jerk forward. Is that a crunch wrap? No, it's a piadina sandwich. It's not a crunch wrap. It's pesto, arugula, almonds, sliced almonds, and turkey. It's very good. Oh, I also think there's provolone in here. I don't know though, but it's very good. Technically, it comes with tomatoes, but I didn't want tomatoes because I'm annoying. While I understand the law is intended to provide for the drivers, if I was broke, I just want to drive. I understand, but also like the thing is that it's not about just driving to make money, because Uber and Lyft were not paying what they were owing their employees. Does that make sense? And sometimes like they would pay, it's like, oh, okay, I'm paying this. And then they wouldn't be told that there was a fee from Uber and Lyft and shit like that. Like there's a lot of things in it where people were not being paid like the livable wage from driving for 8 hours, Random topic when you run out of things to discuss. Are child pageants not just as bad as the Cuties show? Okay. We haven't seen Cuties yet. The video came out today, dude. I defended the movie. Also, child pageants aren't happening right now, so I don't think that that's the point. Again, it's the same thing that she was talking about. It's like, do these kids know, or is it the parents? So that's that. I always think of Eddie and his boys when I think of those bird scooters. Yes, he did the video about the bird scooters. I like tomato flavor. I just don't like the consistency of like a gushy tomato. Okay. It adds so much flavor to pasta. It adds so much flavor to so many meals. But if I just have to bite into like a sandwich, I don't want a tomato in there. I just don't. Especially if it's like a cold tomato with a hot sandwich. No, I don't want it. We've been talking for over an hour and 10 minutes. Wow. I may wrap this up, guys, if that's cool with you. We've been talking for a long time. What about beef tomatoes? They just disintegrate. What's a beef tomato? What is that? Sorry, I didn't even think about the fact that I'm leaning so far away from the mic. Can you guys hear me? I might end this if that's cool with you guys. I've got some editing to do. Hopefully, Brand gets back to me and approves a video for Friday. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end this if that's cool with you guys. Yeah, the audio was good the whole time. Okay, good. I was like leaning back and then I just like, oh my God. All right, I'm gonna end this if that's okay with you guys. I'm gonna head out. Again, this will be saved onto there. It should already be on Patreon if you guys haven't seen it yet. It should already be there. I'll put out the post probably in a couple of days, but that's going to be it. Once again, thank you guys all so much for supporting. I'm probably going to do the tier 10 next month. I'm going to start on the 1st, I think. I'm still trying to figure out. I think I'm just going to do free SIM cards and then maybe an email from me each month, like one email from me. Yeah, we'll figure that out. But yeah, okay. Bye.